Hi, and welcome to the Revive, Thrive, and Optimize podcast. I'm Billy Weiss, compounding pharmacist and health and wellness expert. And as always, I'm here with my co-host, Janet. And behind the scene, making everything work for us, is producer Mike.
Hey,
good morning,
Mike.
Janet.
Good
How are
morning,
you? Good
Billy.
morning, Mike.
I'm great. So, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Just got back from a little quick trip to the beach, so everything's good.
Nice. I just woke up. It's about 6 a.m. No, it's 7 a.m. now.
Yeah.
So we do these really early.
Yeah.
So yesterday I ran into a doctor friend of mine and his wife, and they no longer live in Shelby, but very nice people, very trusted people in this community. And they shared with me, hey, we still take Billy Weiss's supplements, and we won't take anybody else's supplements. He either drops ships to them and to us in Florida, or when we're in town, we run to the store and we get his supplements only. And so in this crowd of people, and I hear all the time is, well, who's Billy Weiss? I'm starting to hear that name, Billy Weiss, but who is Billy Weiss? So I want to put Billy Weiss in the hot seat this morning. And what I hear all the time over and over again was, why should I listen to Billy Weiss? He's just a pharmacist. And I mean, a pharmacist is huge. You're not just a pharmacist, but you're a compounding pharmacist as well. So is your wife. And you went to school for many, many years. But your education since becoming a pharmacist, all the way fast forward another 30 years, what have you been doing? And how have you learned all this information about health and wellness and nutrition?
Yeah, Janet, the crazy thing about the pharmacist thing is Beth and I are both compounding pharmacists, but really what I use on a day-to-day basis, I didn't learn any of it in pharmacy school. It was after pharmacy school. So I used to talk about in my class, and you've certainly been there when I've done it, that I often feel like Beth and I need a refund, from pharmacy school. So, I mean, we both spent, a lot of time and effort and money at UNC Chapel Hill Pharmacy School. And
Go Tar Heels.
Go Tar Heels, yeah. But really and truly, that's not where I learned any of the wellness. So when people think of a pharmacist, I don't think they think about wellness. I don't think they think about supplements, food, exercise, water, sleep. I think they think more about, hey, they're the expert on the drugs, right? Which the pharmacist should be. But yeah, so for me, it was the degree at Chapel Hill. And then after that, and with the story of Granny and what happened with her cancer treatment, it just really opened my eyes to the fact that I don't feel like I learned anything about health or wellness there. I learned about drugs and how the body works. Now, I will tell you that the way the body works and the systems of the body, I do still use from pharmacy school, because when you understand the steps and the ways that the body makes energy inside the cells, and you understand what causes different diagnosed diseases, then you can start to say, okay, what supplements, what foods, what therapies, natural therapies will help the body correct those issues. So I do use that part of it. But so I went from pharmacy school and joined what was called the A4M, or still is called the A4M.
A4M. So A4M is
American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine.
American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. So
yeah.
4AM.
Right. A4M.
A4M.
Yeah, A4M. So I joined.
Wait, and who can study with A4M? Do you already have to be in the...
the best of my knowledge then anyway, it was, you had to have a professional degree, like a doctor, or nurse practitioner, phison assistant, pharmacist, nurses.
To be eligible to even sign up.
To be eligible to get in the program.
Because I've looked. I was trying to get into the program too, and you do have to have some type of degree.
I don't think that just any degree will get you there. I think it's got to be in the medical field.
Right.
Yeah, or used to be, certainly. And you've looked more recently than I have. So shortly after pharmacy school, I joined the A4M. And that was before the advent of things being online and you being able to do things, virtual. Mm-hmm. So
that's a long time ago then.
Right. And so I signed up for their Advanced Fellowship in Metabolic and Nutritional Medicine. And that's where I had to go through at least 12 modules which is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday typically. So it's all day, for 4 straight days. You're in a classroom and you're learning.
Typically, those courses are extremely expensive as well. So I'm sure you've spent
Extremely
a lot of money
expensive.
on continuing
Yeah.
education.
Yeah, Janet, well over $100,000 in that A4M program, certainly. And it took several years because I'm running Prescriptions Plus Pharmacy, and I've got a wife and small children, and now I'm having to fly to San Diego, to Florida, to Orlando, to Boca Raton, they were
take
all over
these
Chicago.
in-person classes.
Yeah, we were all over the country, and so I needed to complete at least 12 modules in order to take the exam and get the Advanced Fellowship in Metabolic and Nutrition certification. And all this is done, or was then, I'm assuming it still is, through the University of South Florida School of Medicine. So they were tied in with the A4M program. So anyway, I do all these weekends. You had your hormone module. That's the first one I did, was bioidentical hormones. That was module number 1. Then there was the heart, the cardiovascular modules, and then there was the autoimmune modules. And so there were 12 that I went through, and I actually went through more than 12, but I had to complete 12 to be able to take the exam. And the exam was tough. To say the least. It was as tough as the pharmacy board exam.
Really?
It was really hard. But it's meant to be tough.
Yeah.
It's meant for you to really know your stuff if you're going to be able to earn that fellowship. So, yeah, Janet, I did that. And then beyond that, I'm trying to learn something new every day. I'm always studying, always listening, always watching, always reading new studies. I have completed the WorldLink Medical 4-part bioidentical hormone replacement therapy series. I've done their summit, whatever they call their World Summit. And so, I want to stay up
that one's
to
a lot
date.
of money too.
That's a lot of money too. Yeah.
Would you say you've spent more money on continuing education and further, more advanced certifications than you even did in pharmacy school? You've probably spent way more money in continuing education.
Yeah, way more money on continuing ed now, for sure. When you think of the average pharmacist, they haven't done any of that outside of pharmacy school. And as a professor at a pharmacy school, teaching an elective, as an adjunct professor at a pharmacy school, teaching an elective on my wellness program, my OptiU program, I understand that these pharmacy students and these pharmacists don't get any training on nutrition, supplements, food, water, exercise. None. And so when I go in and teach my class, it's like deer in the headlights. They don't have any idea of bioidentical hormones. They don't have any idea of quality supplements. It's just not what they're exposed to. They don't know. And so when people ask you that, I think maybe they're thinking of the typical traditional pharmacist, which knows drugs. And so I like to tell people, I think that what helps me be more unique is not only do I know the drugs and how the drugs work and what enzyme or receptor they block, but I do understand how the body works and how we can use natural ways to help the body correct itself.
And then if we do need a pharmaceutical drug, you understand how it interacts.
Correct.
And with that system, then you can go back and say, if you're taking this prescription medication, then you really need to supplement with magnesium, for instance.
Well, Janet, that's a great point, and that's one of the things that is missing in pharmacy school is the drug nutrient depletion training. So one of the things
say that again.
Drug nutrient depletions.
So most people don't know that when they're on a drug, they're depleting something else in their body because of that drug.
Any over-the-counter or prescription drug, they're depleting multiple vitamins and minerals that are critical for the body to work properly.
That could make you sicker in the long run than whatever you're taking the medication for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Janet. This is a startling statistic to me, but it's true. It's published. Over 106,000 people die every year from properly prescribed prescription drugs. And I believe that a lot of those are, this is not where there was a mistake, right? These are properly prescribed. They are prescribed by the drug company standards. They're filled properly. But the side effects of these drugs, we know, I talk about it all the time, University of Stanford School of Medicine, the average number of side effects for one prescription drug is 398.
398.
More than one prescription drug, it is exponential.
Multiple, yeah.
We don't know. But I think a lot of those deaths and those side effects are directly attributable to the fact that all these drugs are depleting vitamins and minerals. And so at the very least, we should be able to replace the vitamins and minerals that are being depleted, which is one of the reasons, again, for the foundational four. What were the most common deficiencies in America with or without prescription drugs or over-the-counter drugs? And how do we replace those on a daily basis?
And when you say foundational four, explain what people that are listening don't know what you mean.
That's a good point.
Four.
So I created, or formulated, I should say, 4 supplements that I coined foundational 4 because I think they're the most important 4 that everybody should start with. And that is the OptiU multivitamin, the OptiU probiotic, the OptiU digestive enzyme, and the OptiU magnesium.
Why can I not go run into Walmart on my way home and get my multi and my magnesium and my probiotic and my digestive enzyme?
You absolutely can, Janet. You will just, in 80% of the cases, not be taking what's listed on the label.
How is that legal?
Because they're not regulated by anybody but the company that puts them in the bottle.
And are yours regulated, and how do we know the difference?
Well, they're pharmaceutical grade. They're CGMP, or Current Good Manufacturing Practice.
CGMP.
Yep,
Current
CGMP.
Good Manufacturer Practice.
And they're NSF International Certified. So in other words, I have to pay every time I make a supplement. I have to pay these organizations to test everything, to test the ingredients before they're put into the supplement.
Okay.
To test the finished product to make sure that only what it says is in there, and it's in there in the proper amounts.
Okay.
Unfortunately, and you've heard me say this 1,000 times, but I think it's important to point out, these companies, and a lot of them, I mean, if they're not doing CGMP, NSF certification, they can literally put M&Ms in a bottle and label it as any supplement on the market.
I told that to someone
So that's why you can't go there and get that.
Can't go to Walmart because you don't know if you're getting M&Ms or if you're getting magnesium. And then in many cases, don't you just kind of pee it all out?
Well, worse than that, Janet, is if you look at my book, The 21st Century Pharmacist, you're getting toxins in a lot of cases.
So you're not just getting, it's not, you're getting a product that doesn't work, but you're getting a product that has really bad stuff in it.
That's correct. You're getting things that can, I mean, in the studies, they are ingredients in these vitamins that are very popular. Let's say some of the biggest names out there that have ingredients that can lead to ADD, ADHD, can lead to bladder cancers. It gets worse and worse.
But
and
all your supplements have been tested for the ingredients. You know the source. And to me, I mean...
Well, Janet, I pick and choose every single ingredient. And I choose, and very important, I choose the form of that ingredient.
Yeah, let's talk about that. And why
because remember, most of these, we'll just say you go get your multi at Walmart, okay? I challenge anybody to find a multi at Walmart that doesn't have 2 things in it. 1 is folic acid, and 2 is cyanocobalamin. Now, folic acid, if we're one of the at least 65% of Americans that can't methylate,
MTHR,
can be very damaging. Okay? We know that the folic acid can lead in children to ADD and ADHD and all kind of issues, and same in adults, okay?
Okay.
It can lead to anxiety, depression. I mean, it's not what our bodies recognize. I would never put folic acid in a product, period, much less a multi.
And we see that in almost all the supplements.
Almost all of them.
So what form?
5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. That's what our bodies recognize. That's what our bodies use. It's already methylated. If we're one of the 65% that can't methylate, it doesn't matter. The body has to work to try to convert folic acid into 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. But because folic acid is dirt cheap, that's what
they use
almost
instead.
all of them are going to use, and that's what they're going to put in their
And so we're
product.
wasting our money.
Well, we're doing damage.
Not just wasting our
Right.
money, but we're wasting our money and doing further damage by buying supplements that we don't know what's in them from CVS or Walgreens or Walmart. Maybe I shouldn't say all those names, but
Well, no, it's any of these big stores or online. I hear it all the time. Oh, it's a good brand. I bought it at the health food store. I bought it online.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
well, show it to me.
Yeah.
And so then I start picking it apart, and they go, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So it's all about the integrity of the company and who's choosing the ingredients and what form are those ingredients, and are they tested before they go in the product? Is the final product tested? So sometimes, for example, I mean, when I order a product, it takes me about 18 to 20 weeks to get it because of all the extensive testing that each and every ingredient has to go through.
which that's your expense.
That's at my expense. I have to pay for it ahead of time. So it's just, I guess the best way and the way that I like to explain it is it's like comparing a Mercedes to a moped. They both have wheels. They both say multivitamin. But on a cold winter's day or a really hot summer morning or a rainstorm, which one's the way you want to travel?
Yeah.
The moped has wheels and it'll get you from place to place, and that's fine. But the Mercedes, you can get in. I don't have a Mercedes, but I know people who do. You can get in. You can turn on the air, the heated seat, maybe the vibrating seat. It's a different experience, right?
Well, and it's a different experience in quality, but it's also the experience of how your body can absorb it, right? Because if it's not being absorbed, it's not going to help you anyway. My yoga teacher used to say, you can't drive the Cadillac with the Toyota key.
Right.
And
Right.
that kind of is the same thing.
Well, and Janet, you have to understand that when we're using these inferior ingredients, like not we, but when these other companies are using these inferior ingredients like folic acid and cyanocobalamin, which are both poisons to our body, you're doing more harm than good. Your body is having to work. Your body is using factors and cofactors to try to convert to an active, not toxic form. And so now your body is working.
So you got
rather
less
than getting
energy. Yeah, you
right?
got
You're
less energy.
using energy,
Yeah.
and you can cause deficiencies in some of these factors and cofactors because these formulas weren't made properly.
I have another group of friends that live about an hour away from here, and they're from Shelby. When they're from Shelby, hands down, they're going to come to your pharmacy every single time they're in town and get your vitamins. But a few months ago, they couldn't get here. They didn't know that they could order them online and get them drop shipped. So they told me, we went to Whole Foods and we got the most expensive vitamins that we could find. And very quickly, they put them in a drawer and drove here and got your supplements because they could tell a difference.
Yeah, it's a huge difference, Janet. I just had a lady, and you sent her to me, and I got a text from her, I don't know, one day this week, and she said, since I've been on your magnesium, I haven't had any migraine headaches.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah,
'Cause I got
so,
that text also.
You know, I'm sure you did.
So I have-
There were some other things in
Yeah,
there, but the migraines
but,
are what
I mean-
caught my attention.
For me to have a friend who suffers from frequent migraines that
Right.
are debilitating and they
Right.
put you down for a day or two, and then for them to be able to use magnesium and call me and say I stopped a migraine,
Yeah.
and that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and it only works about 99%
of the time.
You know, it's not
Just
real.
amazing.
It's not 100%, but it's, yeah. And remember, magnesium has 350 positive functions in the body. So think all the other things that are happening that she doesn't even realize.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
just knows that the migraine doesn't happen. So yeah, I mean, it's just, Janet, it's like this. I tell everybody the most expensive supplement you buy is the one that's toxic or the one that you're just peeing out and flushing down the toilet.
Yeah.
Your body can't utilize it. We want cellular supplements. I talk about my 5 organic chelated salt magnesium. And people go, well, why is it different? Well, it gets into the cells of the body. It's not a laxative. When you buy magnesium oxide or magnesium
It's like a
citrate,
laxative,
It's
yeah.
a laxative.
Yeah.
It's literally not designed to get inside the cells. It is a laxative. And so people need to understand that is not giving you the benefits that we're talking about of cellular magnesium. And it's the same for all these things, like folic acid versus 5-methyl tetrahydrate, methylcobalamin versus cyanocobalamin. I mean, they're not the same thing. They are
We're
not
getting over
the
our
same
heads
thing.
again.
Well, the point is, we will throw these words out like B12.
Mm-hmm.
Well, B12 means nothing to me. What form
of B12.
B12 is it?
So stop at B12. So I used to get B12 shots often, and
Yep.
I'd have to go to the doctor, and then I'd have to get my shot every week. Or, when I got a little bit more advanced, they let me take the shots home and give them to myself,
Yep.
to myself. But now I just do a drop under my tongue.
Yep.
So which is best?
Well, I'm going to tell you
I'd rather drop under my tongue than stick a needle in my arm.
that the shots 99% of the time are cyanocobalamin.
So they're not.
So
the
now I'm
correct
not
form.
just swallowing poison, I'm injecting
Injecting it in,
poison.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you 100% of the time that the right drop, our methylcobalamin or our hydroxycobalamin spray, is always the right answer. And you will find if you use our drop or spray the way it's designed to be used sublingually, hold it under the tongue 30 seconds and then swallow, you'll get levels higher than you ever get with the shot. Because
That's
the
so amazing.
cyanocobalamin's not active.
Yeah.
The body doesn't know what to do
and
with
I
it.
felt the difference, within a week of
Yep.
switching from taking a shot to taking
Yeah.
your sublingual drops.
Well, again, we can assume that you're in the majority of Americans that can't methylate well.
Yeah.
And so it's very easy to understand why people get these shots and they don't have any effect. They're actually draining factors and cofactors from the body, and they can cause more harm than good.
But if I go get my B12 shot at the doctor, it's free.
Right. So again, Janet, I'm going to say it again, and people are going to get tired of hearing it on this podcast. If you're looking for the copay model, if that's what you're concerned with, you're not going to get healthy. You're not going to get good care. The system is designed to fail. And when I say designed to fail, I mean it's designed for you to be in the system, on these drugs, on these ineffective shots, on these things that don't work, because that's the way the system churns and makes money.
Right. And you can prescribe medications all day long that treat a symptom. But what I love about what you're doing is you're not looking at the different symptoms and treating them. You're looking at what is the source?
Right.
Why do you have all these symptoms?
Right.
What is the source and how do we get to the source? And so
Janet, it's a completely 180 degree different thought process. It's a different approach. And when people come, just like the couple you recently sent me, they get that immediately.
well, they feel different immediately.
and
They look different
They
immediately.
do. And I saw them at the farmer's market, and they're like, man, I'm off my omeprazole after 25 years. My migraines are gone. My energy's up.
And it's only been 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, and it's only been a few weeks. Yeah, and so they just come in the pharmacy last week before I left for the beach, and they loaded up on all their supplements, and they're like, thank you. We just feel better, which they should be thanking you because you're the one who encouraged them to come.
And when we feel better, the first thing that we want to do when we feel better is share it with the people that we love,
Yeah.
share it with our family members,
Yeah.
and share it with our closest friends. And those are also the hardest people to talk to, whether it's politics or whether it's vitamins, right?
Yeah.
Health and wellness. So it's just, you really care. And I think we all really care. And we're doing this podcast and we're bringing this stuff up because you guys that are out there, we care.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're trying to show you, oh, we're smarter than you are. It's like, I want to see people feel better. And I think that when people feel better, that somehow that's going to lead to everyone in this country starting to dialogue and get along a little bit better, and it's a crazy year with election year and all that. So we're going to be more stressed.
Well, I just tell everybody, if I could challenge everybody to try the Foundational 4, they'll never look back because they'll feel it. Like you said, they'll feel the difference in their great vitamins from Whole Foods or wherever. They'll understand the difference in a professionally formulated vitamin with only upside, no side effects, versus cheap, not professionally formulated supplements or vitamins, or worse yet, prescription or over-the-counter drugs with 398 side effects. So one of the things to summarize and finish up, I know we're going long, is anything that I ever recommend for somebody, one of the things that I've always told them is there are no side effects. There are no side effects to any of the things you and I have talked about on this podcast that we recommend, that we talked about, the blue light reduction in the evenings, the cold plunge, the infrared sauna, the red light bed, the getting out in the sun, the walking, the supplements, the good food, the good water. I mean, there's no side effect to any of that. When you take or use my supplements or get into my women's diabetes solved program or weight loss program or my summit, there are no side effects. The only thing that can happen is you feel better and have an upside and less risk of heart disease, cancer, strokes, blood clots.
And we can trust
obesity, diabetes.
And we can trust you not only because of 30, 35 years plus education, continuing education in hormones, education in metabolic and nutritional medicine, and all these things that you've done, and doctors who've sought you out to come educate them. A group of cardiologists in Florida, for instance, had you come down and teach them nutrition.
Yeah, Beth and I flew down several, I don't remember how many weekends. They would fly us down like on a Thursday. We would teach Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, fly back on Sunday evening. And I did it for, 8 or 10 weeks with them, with a group of cardiologists. And it was really nice, Janet, because they wanted to learn.
Yeah.
They wanted to know how to do this for their patients.
Well, and speaking of patients, you can't really call your clients patients, but your clients. How many clients have you worked with over the years? How many people do you see on a daily basis? I mean, you have so much experience.
We did a little bit of math trying to kind of come up with a number, and I think we're comfortable in over 12,000 people have come to me for help with wellness.
Okay.
That doesn't include all the pharmacy customers. That's just the
one-on-one.
The people who have said, we need your help with wellness. We're pretty confident that it's over 12,000 at this point.
So if you have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, if you have heart disease, if you're overweight, if you have autoimmune issues, if you have gut issues, any of those things, they can... Migraines, they can learn from you, and you have experience, multiple years of experience, 12,000 people that you've helped with these things.
Yeah, I mean, just think of all the skin conditions that I can think of that you didn't necessarily hit on there.
Kids, ADD, ADHD.
Absolutely, tons of that.
Depression.
Tons of stuff for kids. Go back and watch the podcast with Tia and with Travis about their son, Knox. So yeah, I mean, a lot of different things, Janet, over the years, and it's really just education, experience, but just saying, hey, look, give your kids this, nothing bad can happen, So
well, thank you.
I'm not scared to do it for day-old infants. We do it all the time.
Well, thank you for all your study and education and time that you've spent, because it makes me want to listen to you, and I do.
Well, thank you for being here, being a co-host. Janet is not getting paid to do this.
And I'm not the expert. I'm just here to absorb and learn and share my experience.
But your questions that you bring and your insight is amazing, and your experiences. So thank you. We would love to help anybody. I challenge them to try the Foundational 4 and just see how they feel.
And if you don't know how to get to Billy, get to me. I can get you.
Yep, and Mike will put all the links in for us. So BillyW360.com will get you to all my stuff.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.